Watching the enemy army charging fiercely toward us, I gave the order at once. Tens of thousands of arrows shot out instantly, barreling toward the enemy. But the enemy forces were too numerous, and they fought fearlessly to the death. Even though we shot down some of them, we still couldn't stop their charge. So I issued another order. The massive catapults were activated immediately. 1-ton boulders were hurled into the air in an instant, crashing straight onto the battlefield, yet they didn't hit a single enemy. My political rival couldn't help but mock me, but little did he know, this was just a test fire. For the next tactic would be my trump card. The soldiers were ready. I gave the order to launch without delay. A huge red cloth swept across the sky, leaving my political rival confused. The enemy commander was even more dumbfounded, completely unable to understand what I was up to. Even the charging enemy soldiers felt perplexed. It wasn't until the red cloth fell completely, blocking their path of advance, that chaos erupted. Many enemy soldiers couldn't dodge in time, being directly covered by the red cloth. Though they panicked, they soon figured out how to slash through it, but the outcome was already sealed. Even if they discovered the red cloth's secret, they couldn't escape death, for my killing blow was imminent. Flame-covered arrows ignited the red cloth in an instant. Before the enemy could react, they were engulfed by a sea of fire. This was my tactic, a tactic never seen before in history. And this war would go down in the annals of history alongside my victory. The towering curtain of flames completely shattered the enemy's will to attack. But as the enemy general kept boosting morale, the enemy army regained their fearless momentum. Now, only the last line of defense remained, a wall that would be their hardest to breach. No matter how many men they had, they couldn't break through it in a short time. As our soldiers continued their assault, a large number of enemies were killed on the spot. Seeing they couldn't take the defense despite repeated attacks, the enemy immediately adopted a new tactic. But I had long taught my deputy commander how to counter it. Any enemy who tried to attack from above would be shot dead instantly. But no defense is without flaws. The enemy found a breakthrough. But how could I not have prepared for this? The enemy used civilians as human shields to block our advance. Yet my brother, ignoring the civilians' lives, drove his war chariot forward. I couldn't bear to watch such a scene, but the civilians urged me to do the same. But I would never resort to such cruelty, for I already had a plan. My soldiers charged at once, and the thrown weapons exposed the enemy's flaws in an instant. As our soldiers' arrows rained down continuously, the enemy soldiers in the front row fell to the ground immediately, no longer able to threaten the civilians. I marched alongside my soldiers to clear the remaining enemies, and, for the captured civilians, I had already sent men to cover their evacuation. This tactic shocked my political rival to the core, but the enemy general's attack came unexpectedly. Fortunately, I was cautious enough and reacted swiftly, and the enemy general had vastly underestimated my strength. Thus, he paid with his life. Yet it seemed the enemy commander's real breakthrough wasn't here at all. This eerie atmosphere left my soldiers at a loss, unable to fathom the enemy's plot. It wasn't until a brave soldier scouted that we discovered the enemy intended to concentrate their forces to smash through our defense. A massive wooden ram crashed into the shields instantly. My deputy commander immediately sent reinforcements to strengthen the defense, but the enemy's next attack followed right after. The enormous impact forced our soldiers to retreat repeatedly. At this point, there was no other choice but to send more men to hold the line. Yet the enemy was determined to shatter our defense. Under their full force assaults, our defense collapsed in an instant. The enemy generals led the charge, and even though our soldiers fought desperately, they couldn't stop the enemy army pouring in like a tide. Our formation was completely breached, and even my deputy commander was killed by the enemy. Our battle flag was seized in the blink of an eye, and the moment the enemy's battle flag was raised, it signaled that we were on the verge of total defeat. The Queen panicked completely, unable to find a way to deal with the million-strong enemy army. Witnessing this, I immediately mounted my horse and charged toward the enemy. The soldiers, having lost their morale, became nothing but lambs to the slaughter. Even the catapults we had spared no effort to build were destroyed by the enemy. The terror of death permeated the entire battlefield, causing soldiers to flee in droves. But the fallen soldiers would remain here forever. Watching this scene, my heart was filled with unwillingness. I would use my own way to reawaken the soldiers' fighting spirit. We are the nation's last line of defense. If we retreat, it will be the entire nation's people who perish with us. We are brave warriors, not cowards who only know how to run. We will use our flesh and blood to defend and protect the country we love. For only in this way can we live up to the people who adore us and live up to the honor of being soldiers.
मेरे साथ आएगा कौन? मेरे साथ आएगा कौन? उस मृत्यु को पार करके मेरे साथ अमर होगा कौन?
Emboldened by my words, the soldiers regained their fearless fighting spirit, and when the enemy general's corpse was hung from our battle flag, it signaled the start of our counterattack. We would charge forward without hesitation, driving the enemy out of our homeland. The time had come. I led the charge at the forefront, commanding the cavalry to advance against the tide. What I aimed to do now was launch a surprise attack on the enemy's command post, completely shattering their offensive. Even outnumbered, we feared nothing. Seeing our plan for a surprise attack, my brother immediately drove his war chariot to support us. With the chariot's ferocious advance, a path was quickly carved open. Any enemy who tried to block us was torn to pieces in an instant. I wielded my war hammer, slaying enemies along the way, clearing a path for the cavalry behind me. Under this fearless charge, the enemy was thrown into disarray, beginning to retreat toward the rear. The cavalry I led had arrived. To break the enemy's defense, I hurled the boulder hooked to my hammer with all my strength, tearing through their defenses completely. We pressed straight toward the enemy commander. By then, the infantry that had circled around had also arrived, launching a surprise attack on the enemy and forming an encirclement. In this desperate situation, the enemy commander decided to take action personally. With a single strike, he destroyed my brother's war chariot, sending parts scattering everywhere. Facing the fearsomely powerful enemy commander, my brother did not flinch. Instead, he picked up his warhammer and charged forward. The enemy commander was knocked down instantly, and even his mount was killed on the spot. This enraged the enemy commander completely. His full-powered strike sent my brother reeling backward, utterly unable to match his strength. Seeing this, I rushed over at once, gathering all my strength, and swinging my strongest blow at the enemy commander. He could not withstand the attack, but as a commander, he possessed an inviolable dignity. Yet I would not sit idly by and wait for death. His strength was great, I could not fight him in close combat. So I grabbed my weapon, ready to fight him to the death. With the weapon in hand, he was no match for me. I captured him on the spot. His defeat signaled the imminent end of the war. Seeing their commander captured, the enemy lost all will to fight, scattering and fleeing in all directions. We had finally won the war,